In this video, I'm going to show you how to build an absolutely killer reference section. I mean, you're going to have everything that you need in there. And what I am most excited about showing you is the notes system that I built. Oh man, you're going to love it. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Superhero Institute. My name is Jeff Gibbard. I am your host here, and I'm going to take you through more of building out your own SuperBrain. And today we're in the reference section of the SuperBrain. And if you remember from previous videos, inside of the commons, we have a bunch of different sections here, including reference. So last video, we went through taxonomies, how you organize stuff. And I talked to you about using spaces and tags and projects. Today, we're going to build out your reference section. This was one of the first use cases I actually had for Notion because I came over from Evernote. And so I was a big note taker and I clipped a lot of things from the web and I needed something to replace that. So I started out with notes and then I quickly realized I could also clip things from the web using the Notion web clipper. And so naturally I replaced any of my read later services with the Notion web clipper. And I just brought everything in here. And one of the reasons that I did that is because inside of the Notion web clipper, it actually brings in the entire article, which is a really, really cool feature that in case articles come down later, you can actually clip it into your Notion articles database, and then you get to just have it. So even if that link were to come down, which it won't, it's mine, you would still have the full copy in here of everything that's in there. And like before, you have access to tag those. I didn't connect this one to spaces, but that would be one of the ways you could do it if you wanted to add a relation to spaces, and you could connect it to projects. So if you had articles that were related to a particular project you were working on, this is one way you'd be able to do that. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go back to reference and let's talk about everything that's in here. So the purpose of a reference system, and by the way, in case I didn't mention that, I don't know if I said it before, but like and subscribe. And as a reminder, every page that we're going to create during this is going to be in the description. So you can download it and you can also get the entire SuperBrain on the Notion Marketplace right now. Don't have to set anything up. It'll all be wired and ready for you to go. So let's get to the reference. Reference in here, you'll notice we've got notes, we've got master notes, which I'll cover in a second, articles, books, swipe file, useful tools, code snippets, and then meeting notes. Meeting notes is really only going to be useful for you if you have Notion AI. If you're on the business plan and you have Notion AI, there's a meeting notes feature, which is absolutely amazing, by the way. I got rid of my Fireflies subscription. I forego Fathom and Otter. I've tried all of them, and I think Notion's is the absolute best one, and that's where I store all of my meeting notes. Okay, so let's talk about notes and master notes first. So notes, if you're familiar with Tiago Forte's Second Brain, or you've looked into Zettelkasten or anything like that, notes is just kind of the idea of any original thought you have or any original single focused kind of idea would go into notes. I tend to use notes in a very broadly applied sense of that word because sometimes I'll use it for brain dumping. Sometimes I'll use it for mapping out a project. Sometimes I'll use it for starting out some content that I might want to do somewhere. So I use notes just kind of as like my all-purpose go-to. I've got a thought, got to get it out of my head, got to put it somewhere. And notes I have organized in such a way where I've connected notes in the SuperBrain to your spaces, to projects, to tags, to people, and then to master notes, which I'm going to get to master notes in just a second. But the idea here then is that let's say you have a note that is about a person, you can now connect it to it. And maybe that person is also related to a project, so you can connect it to that. One of the problems that people have made in, or that they have with trying to organize their stuff in a folder-based system is that folder-based systems require you to remember exactly where you put something. Using relational databases, which are effectively tags, you can instead associate it with a number of different things. So I can associate this note with 10 different projects. I can associate it with 3 different spaces. I can associate it with 25 different tags. And if I remembered any one of those, I could find my way back to this note. So really important to understand that the central theme of the SuperBrain is connectivity between information. The more you can make those connections, the easier it's going to be for you to find what you're looking for. So the SuperBrain really is designed for organization. So notes can be just about anything. And if you're unfamiliar with how Notion works, if you hit the slash button inside of any page, you'll see these are all of the things that you can put inside of a Notion page. there's so many things. There's all of these different things that you can connect from other tools. It's a pretty significant list. You can have sync databases. You can import stuff into it. There's all different text-based tools and formatting tools. So there's just a lot in here that you can put into this, which can feel overwhelming, but just start with text, you'll be fine. And you can just drag stuff into here too. If I want to throw an image here, I can just drag it in here. If I want to throw a video, I can just drag the video in here. So that's going to make things, you know, as a note-taking tool, I haven't found one that's as capable as Notion, because really you can put just about anything in here. And one of the things I really love is a good call-out box. You can do a call-out box, and you can have columns. So a lot of things you can do with this. Really, really enjoy Notion's ability to let you format things. You can even change the font to a serif or to a mono, make it look the way you want. So master notes. What are master notes? Well, I'm glad you asked it, because one of the things I did really like from Second Brain, and this isn't an original Tiago Forte idea, it actually originates in a system called Zettelkasten, in which you haven't looked into that fascinating story. But it's sort of like the original Dewey Decimal System of sorts, but for ideas, where you're finding overlaps of them and you're categorizing and organizing, and it's just really fantastic. So the idea of master note is what Tiago Forte called progressive summarization. I really like that concept. The way I tend to think of a master note is sort of as a cheat sheet for an idea. So anything that you're really interested in learning about, you probably want to have something that where you summarize and you collect up and you aggregate all the best stuff. And with the AI, you can actually do some really amazing things with that. More on that in a later video. But the idea behind master notes is you pick a topic that you want to have a thorough understanding of, and you create a master note for it, right? And then master notes, you're able to actually connect, because it's a database, to other databases. So if I wanted to have all of the information about Notion and how it works, I could create a master note called On Notion. I use on as my prefix, because then I always know how to find a master note, because they're all prefixed with on. So on Notion, on kindness, on marketing, on sales, whatever it is. That's how I like to do it. Feel free to do it however you want. But the idea is, if I have a note that is related to Notion, so going back again into notes, if I were to have a note on Notion, I could then take this, and I need to turn off all of these from the last time. I would be able to then give it the tag of Notion. And then I might decide that this is so important that I want to connect it to the master note on Notion. Okay, so then when I go back to my master notes now, I'm able to see inside of this, because I have these tabs at the top, that this is a note about Notion, because it is related through the master note relation. But I'd also be able to look at the tag, any tag that's related to Notion, and I'd be able to mention any of those or connect them over. Any articles that I wanted, that I had about Notion. So let's say that this article was about Notion. It's not. I would be able to just relate it. Any books that I got about Notion, it's connected to the books database. And then useful tools. Let's say I find some apps that help expand the use case of Notion. I'm able to now do that just by connecting those. So, and you could connect people, you can connect companies, you can connect anything you want, and that then creates the linkage between those different things. So a master note is sort of like your compiled cheat sheet of everything about a particular topic. So think of this as your compiled idea on a topic. Your tags is your way of finding everything that is linked to that topic. And so you would use your tags to essentially find anything that is tagged Notion. You would collect anything you want from there and connect it to the master note. Then you would pull from those different resources to basically compile your own cheat sheet inside of master notes about Notion. And there you go. You've basically got a killer cheat sheet about everything related to Notion that you think is important. Articles and resources, like I mentioned, great database to have. If you find stuff online that you really like and you want to read later, or you've read and you want to save it, use the Notion web clipper, bring it right into articles. Books is where I create, I like to read a lot. And so I'll have a book database where I can track what's up next. I can keep my book notes in here. And then similarly, because I have tags and master notes, I can connect these topics, or these books, that is, into a topic I want to have a full understanding of. So for instance, I could take this book, The Lovable Leader, great book, by the way, and I could create a new master note right from here called On Leadership. And now I've got a new leadership master note, and I can go through my tags and find anything that's tagged with leadership and connect those all to the master notes. Because another way you can connect things is by just simply using an @ mention. So I can go right here and type @ leadership. And now when I go into here, I can see in the backlinks that it's connected. So a lot of ways to do this, but having a direct relational field is a really helpful sort of thing. It gives you a lot more flexibility with it. So in the commons, you're also going to have your swipe file, at least inside of the SuperBrain. And a swipe file is just if you find something online, you really like it and you're inspired by it. It could be a website. It could be a product description. It could be a marketing campaign. It could be anything that is relevant to your life. Swipe file just means you swiped it and you took it for yourself and you saved it for later to use however you would want to use it. I've got this one connected right now. It's only got swipe type, but you could swap that out for a tags database if you wanted to. You could connect it to your spaces database, to a project. So if you want to see what's in the swipe file connected to a particular project, like a website rebuild, you could totally do that as well. The next thing, code snippets. I like this for in case you're doing anything with HTML or CSS and you don't know code, as I don't, I will just save a snippet that I might need to reuse later into this database. And one of the other things you can use it for is you can use it to save AI prompts. That's another thing I do here is that if I find a really good AI prompt, I might put it in here and then reference it later. So that's another database. And then, like I said, meeting notes. So this is how you build a reference section for you. And by reference, I mean things that you go and you reference. You might reference your master note, even though you are also building it. You're going to reference it to find out things about those topics that you've been spending time creating cheat sheets for. Your notes are a reference. There's going to be everything, especially if you categorize it, everything about a particular topic or a project or a person. Articles are reference, books are reference. All of these things you're going to go back and reference them as you store and collect and clip to it. So really useful system to have in here. And again, when you connect it to your tags and to your projects and to your spaces, you have the ability to organize just about everything in here and always be able to find it. So that is the reference section. That's basically how it works. You can create anything else that you want in there. If we were to build those, as you saw in here, all of those were basically just databases. So I created a database for articles. I created a database for master notes, a database for books, for useful tools, for code snippets, for meeting notes. All of those are databases. And then all you do have to do is create a relation between one database and another. And as I mentioned, I will cover how to do those relations in a later video. For now, I just want you to get the basics of building out all of the pages. So if you wanted to build your own right now, you would build each of those as individual databases. I will put links into the description that have each and every one of those databases so that you can download them for yourself. But again, the relations might be broken if I create the relations in there. So you can always go and get the SuperBrain in the Notion Marketplace. Remember to like and subscribe, and please stay tuned for the next video, because in the next one, I'm going to teach you how to build your ultimate extended memory. If you have a problem with short-term memory, as I do, this is a really great way for you to never forget anything ever again. And I mean everything. So it's really, really useful. I hope you'll come back for it. And if you want to be notified when that video comes out, hit the notification bell and you will get notified of the next video when it came out. So thank you for joining me. See you in the next one.